Okay, Grandma's going to go on a walk down here, and this is Antelope. What is it called?
Antelope House Overlook. The Antelope House Overlook is actually on that side, the west side. And we're
Okay.
going to the east side, and we're going to look at the Fortress Rock. Go into the canyon later.
I have the best guide. Now I'm going to call her Miss D. And she is my sweetie pot, a true Dene guide. And look at the rocks.
I used to be a certified guide, but not anymore.
Oh my heavens, look at this. Look at that. We're looking down into this. And Grandpa's trying to make it over. We're not young anymore, so we have to be careful.
Fortress Rock is here.
Okay.
So it's basically a rock island.
There's the rock island. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And on the left is the North Canyon, Canyon del Muerto.
Okay.
And then over here to the right is Black Rock Canyon.
Okay.
And so there's a junction here, right here, and the canyon splits. So this, to the left, the North Canyon continues all the way up to Tse'Laa.
Okay.
And Tse'Laa Lake empties into this North Canyon, Canyon del Muerto.
Okay.
Black Rock Canyon goes up about 5 to 8 miles east.
Okay.
And boxes in. So later on today, we're going to go into the canyon and view Fortress Rock from the south side and maybe the north side, depending on how much time we have, depending on how much time you have. But definitely on the south side, because that's where the trail goes up to Fortress. And back in 1863, this is where the Dene people built an awesome trail up onto the rock and used it as a fortress because the American soldiers were coming. They got wind that the American soldiers were going to be coming into the canyon, so that from that spring all the way to late fall, they strategized and they planned, they forethought, they used so much profound wisdom and used this rock, and those Navajos did not go on the long walk.
Yeah,
because
they
used this rock as a fortress.
Look, see the white stuff?
This is so beautiful. Thank you.
See the snow?
Thank you for my...
So one thing I want to point out here too is when we get to the bottom of the canyon, I'm going to share the story about Fortress Rock.
Okay.
So this side facing north, the northeast end, or the northwest end here, towards the end of their stay on this rock, they ran out of water.
Oh.
And it became a crisis, and the people started to suffer dehydration. They almost had to come down and surrender, but the Navajo headmen got together and they gathered all the ropes, the yucca ropes, and I guess they had Mexican ropes. And ledge by ledge on this northwest side, they used the ropes and climbed down the ledge and made a human chain all the way down. And then towards the bottom, a long time ago, the creek, the stream used to run against the Fortress Rock. And in the middle of the night, see, the soldiers were camped right down there. Can you believe that?
Wow.
They were camped there because they were trying to starve the people out. So they were camped there. But in the middle of the night, the people were so quiet, and all night they worked dipping their water containers and handing it back and forth all the way up, all night. They worked all night. Didn't make a sound.
Yeah.
Didn't drop anything. And the next day they had enough water to last a whole week. They say there, if I recollect right, 13 or 18 water holes up there. So that's how their water was, that's how they got their water when they were up there. So what happened was, it stopped snowing, and the spring rains were, there wasn't too much. So that's why they ran out of water. But again, they strategized and risked their lives, really, because look at those. I mean,
Yeah,
that's sheer
look at
cliffs.
Yep.
You know, ledge by ledge, they climbed down, got the water, worked all night, didn't make one mistake, just like the Navajo code talkers. Isn't that amazing? Remember how they transfer? Not too many mistakes, won the war, and they won.
Oh,
They won. So they were able to stay up there, got enough water for another week, and the next day, that very day, that morning, the soldiers got up, packed up, and left.
oh gosh.
So they stayed up there a while longer, but they were still apprehensive. They wanted to be careful because they love their families. That's why they did all that planning and risked their lives too on those trails because, I mean, that's a deadly drop. I mean, sheer cliffs. But they stayed up. So let's see here. East, they went east towards Black Rock on top there of the canyon. They stayed hidden. There was a hidden camp, and they stayed over there for about another 6 to 8 months before they all went. They dispersed again, and they felt safe enough to just go, you know, and relocate to different areas. But so this is my ancestry. This is my relatives are from this area. So the Navajo people, the leaders that they had, I mean, they just worked all together as a community, and they accomplished much. And they were heroic, and they didn't go on the long walk. They survived, they lived, they thrived, even though this place, because there was a scorched earth policy, right?
Right.
When they came down, there was nothing because they destroyed everything. But they still had each other, and that was the most important thing.
Oh, goodness.
So a lot of Navajo people do not know about the Fortress Rock. It's almost like the biblical Masada. So this is a testament to that, you know, if people work together, they can accomplish much, and they can even defeat an army.
Here.
You know, and there were some warriors who died on missions, and then some elderly people who it was just too cold and frigid up on the rock, and they're buried on the west end of this rock.
Oh, goodness.
There's actual graves up there, burials up there, and just imagine 300 people living up there on the back south of the rock. We'll go there, drive into the canyon, and I'll show you how they got up.
Wow. Look at if you look the depth of that canyon, it's huge. It's beautiful. And again, look at the sheer. I don't know if you can appreciate this with the video, but how sheer the rocks are. And it's like a spine that goes up, and then you're going. I don't know if Grandma's following the spine properly, but you can see how it goes up and over. And this is just fabulous. It's incredible. Very humbling. Thank you. So we're going to carry on. Thank you so much.
Oh, Shimasane,
Oh.
I love you.
We are now entering Canyon de Chelly, and this is called Chelly, this river. And this is, Chelly means what?
Where the water flows out.
Where the water flows out. And this just dried out from a couple of days ago. The winds were really high, and this is the entrance. And usually when we came here before, the water was pretty deep. And if you see, everyone knows this, there's a road here that you go through, and we didn't know that. And I was wondering why the trucks, the 4x4s, were driving in the middle of the river, because this is actually where the water flows. And we didn't dare. We turned around and never followed through. So this is look at the gorgeous view. Look at the, oh my goodness, the cotton trees. These are cotton trees, right?
Cottonwood trees, flame out cottonwood trees, yeah.
These are one of Grandma's favorite, because I grew up with these. Look at this. And you have to have a 4x4 really technically to get up here. And oh my, look at this. And look at that. Look at the sheer walls. Oh my goodness. And this is not even super high. This is just a part of the beginning. So we're going to be driving through, and this is just a taste of what Grandma wants to show you at the entrance of Canyon de Chelly, and we're now in Chelly, the river. And this looks a little damp. There's some water there, you can see. And oh, we're taking now our, oh, look at this. Oh my goodness. See, everybody who lives here knows exactly where to go. And this is incredible. I would be lost. Oh, dear.
Now you'd be bogged.
I would be lost and bogged. Thank you, Grandpa. So anyways, we're on our way. Straight in front of us is Fortress Rock. Here we are. You heard the story already. Look at all the rocks around here. Oh my goodness. There it is. Oh. Dear, this is beautiful. And we're on the east side? Or which
The
side?
west side.
West side.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're going on the south side of the rock.
Oh my goodness.
And we're going into Black Rock Canyon.
Straight ahead
yeah.
is Black Rock Canyon.
And then this continues on to Masker Cave, Mummy Cave,
That way.
Standing Cow, and this is the Canyon del Muerto. But to me, it's the North Canyon, that way.
Yeah.
What's Mummy Cave?
It's a great Puebloan site. It's a huge Puebloan site, a major site in the canyon.
Look at this.
And it's a,
Oh my
I'll show you
goodness.
pictures. It's really beautiful. Ooh, ooh. So at the end of this canyon is where my grandfather grew up.
Okay.
So you can see, you know, my grandmother's sheep herding through here.
Uh-huh.
And he noticed her somewhere along here, around here.
Who
That
lived over there?
That was the coolest story.
I don't know.
Oh, steep into the gorge here. I don't know how you have to have a 4-wheel drive, people, to get back here. Look at this. Here we are. We are at Fortress Rock right here. I'm going to have Miss D. See, look, they walked up that. And then they put wood up there and went up and over. Oh my goodness.
So we are in Black Rock Canyon, and we are at the on the south side of Fortress Rock. And this is the base of the beginning of the trail. Their ascent up, it started here. This fin that comes down. And there are some slight hand and toe holes, very faint, that you can still see today. But they ascended this fin, and there's a chasm over here. You can see the blue sky come down like a V-shape. That's where they place ladders there for the people to safely cross, because there's a drop, there's a chasm there. And then from there, on the other side, which we will go to the other side, and you can see the notch pole ladders that they placed where it was just too sheer for the people to climb. So back in 1863, the people gathered, and they knew that there was impending danger coming. They received they received news that the American soldiers were going to be coming into the canyon. And the headmen got together, the people got together, and they said, we're going to use Fortress Rock as our fortress, shelter, and refuge and home. So from the spring of 1863 to the late fall of 1863, they were working to get this rock secure and safe for the people. So one of the first things they had to do was they had to get secure the trail, make it safe for everybody to climb, and they had to go to the Chuskas, not too far from here east, are the Chuska Mountains, and they went and got, I'm not sure what kind of wood they got, but they had to get the long poles, probably tall pine trees, I assume, and they brought them, and they had to carry those heavy poles up this trail, this rock trail here, and place them up in that chasm. And I've been on the opposite side of this chasm. I've been on the rim on this side, the east rim, and from there I could see notched holes in the canyon wall where they placed those logs. They could be hand and toe holes, but I think they were the notched poles where they placed the poles, and they've notched holes there so that the bridge could be secure for the people to cross. And there's about 5 to 6 that I could see. So after that, they had to bring more poles up, and there's more wooden ladders that you can see on the opposite side, on the north side of the Fortress Rock. So after they secured the trail, they made the bridge, they started carrying food, supplies up onto the rock. And they were building homes up there. They dug latrines up there. Along every ledge was utilized, and they built military fortifications there. If you look from the east side to the Fortress Rock, it is just trailed with military fortifications. It's unbelievable. And up here on the top too, on the east side of Fortress Rock, it's just strewn all the way down, up and down this side too. You can see remnants of their military fortifications. And they wanted this place fortified because when the enemy came, if they even attempted to go up this, they were bombarded with weapons here. So all these military fortifications were stockpiled with rocks, weapons, bone arrows, spears, flint rock. They carried flint rock up here because they were making weapons up there too. Meanwhile, the women were down here taking care of the home, the livestock, the orchard, the farm, the children. I mean, it was just a busy time. So after the headmen assessed, they looked around and they were satisfied with all the preparation. But when they did one last thing, there was a mass butchering of the sheep. And they had to wait until it got cold enough so that they could take the meat up onto the rock so it could be preserved. So when it got cold enough, they butchered almost all the sheep, and they carried all that meat up there. And so they carried all the meat up there, and after that was done, they said it's time to go up on the rock. And there was 300 people up there. It took all day. There was women, children, elderly, and that's why it took all day for them to get on top of the rock, and people were helping each other the whole day, all the way up. And when I saw from the east overlook, looking west towards the Fortress Rock on top, this is about 700 feet tall, this rock here. There's places where it's sheer. So it was very dangerous to be climbing up there. And they had to get up there before the first snowfall because of the snow and ice. I mean, you can't climb on this when it's in that condition. It's deadly. So anyway, they got up there, and they waited. So the people that were up here survived 2 assaults on this rock. So the American soldiers came twice. Both times they attempted to shoot, but the bullets, it was just too far. They couldn't shoot up there. They tried coming up here on the south side of this, couldn't get up there. They were just bombarded with weapons, so they ended up camping on the west end of the rock. They thought, oh, we'll just starve them out, but no, they couldn't, because all the people, they had plenty of food up there. They had water up there. They have huge rock basins up there, according to the nest stories. So they had plenty of water. And and the soldiers left that first time. They left, but they came back later. And again, they thought, oh, we'll starve them out. But they couldn't, because they had plenty of food to eat. But most importantly, they had their loved ones up there. And that was the whole goal.